Hello, my beautiful Hair Lounge community. Angelina here in the Hair Lounge. Who is ready for me to show them the easiest holiday updo fancy hairstyle? Stay tuned and I'll show you just how easy it is. I know sometimes you don't want to go to a salon to do an updo on your hair. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to make your hair look extra fancy for Valentine's Day, New Year's, your birthday. Maybe you have a special dinner event that you need to go to. This hairstyle will take you no time at all and it'll look like you spent 2-3 hours maybe getting ready. I honestly did not do anything to my hair. I took a shower, let it air dry, and so there is zero curl to this hair. This is just how my hair dries. All you need is a tiny bit of dry shampoo and maybe 1-2 day old hair. When I say old hair, I mean not freshly washed. If you're trying to do an updo style on your hair and it is freshly clean, it doesn't stay as well. You wanna make sure that it has a little bit of dirt to it or a little dry shampoo. That way it stays really, really good for you. I'm gonna use my OB Hive dry shampoo on it, and it's really just to get rid of all this kind of grease look up towards the front. To achieve this style, you do need to know how to do a Dutch braid. I do have a braiding video. Click this link right here and it'll show you how to do those Dutch braids. This is all personal preference. I'm actually gonna do 2 Dutch braids on the very top of my hair just to get the bangs that I have in the front out of my face. That way, if you're dancing the night away, you don't want your hair sticking to your forehead. I'm gonna take my rat tail comb and separate it pretty close to the middle. Hello, Baxter. You want to get your hair updo? So on this top section, I am just gonna go from my middle really to my temples, and we're gonna do 2 braids. You also will need clear elastics. No one wants to see the elastics when you're doing an updo and you're trying to look fancy. Let's get to braiding. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail on how to braid because I do have a braiding video, but we are gonna keep these sections fairly small. And I'm doing the Dutch braid. That way you can see the braid on top of the hair and it looks really undone. The whole point of this updo is very easy, very simple, and more of an undone, effortless look. Once you start getting to the roundness of your head, that is where you're gonna put in the elastic. Now we're gonna move on to this left side doing exactly the same thing. Again, you do not have to do 2 braids, you can only do 1. It all just depends on the final result that you want your updo to achieve. Now it's all about getting a little bit more volume on top. So we are going to fatten or pancake those braids. Hold on to that elastic. That way you're not pulling too much hair out and you are just going to pull these pieces of the braid that are kind of poking out, just to make it a little fatter and a little bit undone so it's not completely flat up against your head. As you can see, this side versus this side makes it look a little less sleek looking, and to me, a lot more fun. Now let's move on to this other side. And you honestly just do this to your liking. So once I feel like they're fairly symmetrical and they're pulled out to my liking, now we're gonna move on to the easiest part. We are going to do topsy tails. Who remembers topsy tails when they were little. You're just pulling your hair through using elastics, and honestly, it looks like you took hours doing your hair. I'm gonna use 4 elastics, so we're gonna start with this first one. And depending on how you want your hair to look, I always like the hair kind of pulled over to the side. So I'm gonna transition everything from this right side over to this left side. And we're gonna just take a small sectioning. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want it to look completely slick back. You just want it to be pulled softly and over to the left side. Taking that elastic and tying it off into a ponytail. Okay, now this is where the magic happens. I am going to split this hair down the middle and flip my ponytail inside that hole I created. As you can see, here's the little hole. And then we are going to just pull it. So depending on if you want any fullness up through this top, you can pull on that topsy tail. Personally, I don't need a whole lot of fullness up there, but I want it just a tiny, tiny bit so it doesn't look completely flat up against my head like I did with these braids. Now we're gonna move on to our next section. Again, pulling just a tiny bit of hair up and over, making sure that it's not super tight. You want it to be a little messy. I do like to keep little hairs around my face out. And same with this one. I always suggest pulling it out first before you actually tie off your hair, because if you're pulling on it, it can kind of mess up those ponytails that you're doing. Grabbing another elastic and keeping everything to the side. Okay, we got our another ponytail, and I am grabbing hair from this topsy tail into this other pony, splitting it down the middle and flipping that hair inside of itself and pulling. Now we're gonna keep just moving on down our hair, leaving these little fun sections out right here and grabbing. I'm gonna do this as my very last section, so I'm grabbing everything. So as you can see, everything is gonna be pulled back, keeping it low and close to my neck. And now we're gonna do another topsy tail, creating that hole and pulling that hair through. And this is gonna be our very last topsy tail. Since I don't have any hair to grab, we are just going to section this piece off, roughly about 2.5 inches down, still leaving kind of a little bit of a tail of hair to be out. And separating that pony straight through the middle and flipping that hair inside of itself. So that's roughly what you're gonna do. Now it's all about pulling those sections out and making them full looking. So you hold it just like you did on your braids up on the top from the very bottom half of your hair, and we are just pulling this hair. And this is what's gonna create that fullness and that undone look, and it's going to hide those hair ties. And honestly, I just look to see how I want this side kind of mane or horsetail to look. So I want it to be full looking. I want it to be undone. I don't want my hair to be flat up against my head. And I do like kind of the softness around my face. So you do not want to see, as you can see right here, you can kind of see that sectioning of that ponytail. You do not want to see holes. So I will take a bobby pin and just pull this hair down to cover that sectioning, and just stick that bobby pin in just like that. Again, keeping those sides out. And then same with this side. As you can kind of see, it's getting a little baggy, and you can kind of see that parting right there. And I like this side a little tighter looking. So I am going to take another bobby pin and just pull it so it's not baggy looking and just tuck it in. I don't want it completely flat, but I didn't like how much it was poking out. And same with this section right here. You guys, look at how easy that was. So if you do not want to see this elastic down here, you literally just pull the hair out a little bit more so it kind of hangs up over the top, and then you just don't see it. It's kind of now buried underneath that. So like I said, you do not have to curl your hair, but if you want these ends to look curled, I would suggest taking your flat iron or your curling iron and curling it. So I'm gonna do that now. And honestly, it's just by look. So if you see any pieces, you want them to be a little bit more undone, you can do that. I'm gonna turn to the side so you guys can see. Now we're gonna curl these outer pieces that we left out. We don't want them to be super, perfect. We just want them to be just a tiny bit curled so it doesn't look completely undone. So now we're just looking at the back of our hair, looking to see what we like and what we don't like. So I don't want to see this elastic right here. So what I would do is I would take a bobby pin and pull that hair up and over the top of it. That way you cannot see that elastic. And as you can see, this kind of piece came out because my hair is a tiny bit shorter. So you can take a bobby pin and just pin that in so it's not poking out. Now same with, as you can see, this kind of bubble section, since I have layers in my hair, it's starting to fall out. Same thing, take a bobby pin, grab onto that hair, and you're just gonna pin it inside that middle section so it pins in. Now you can't see it sticking out. Now this is where you can jazz it up a little bit. I have super cute diamond hairpins, and I like to just put it right where that braid is kind of like showing through. So just like that. I'm gonna add a few more decorative ones. And this is all just depending on how fancy you're wanting to be. So that just jazzes it up just a tiny bit. But guys, that took me no time at all. And look at how fancy it looks. Super quick, very, very easy. You don't even have to curl your hair outside of these little pieces and maybe the ends that you leave out, but it will take you no time at all. And what I love about this style is the messier, the better. The more undone it looks, the better it looks. And it honestly looks like you spent hours in the salon, and it really only took me, 20 minutes maybe, if that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's super easy for you to achieve this same look on your own hair, whether it's for New Year's, Valentine's Day, maybe a fancy dinner, maybe you have a banquet coming up. And if you guys want to share your hairstyles with me, tag me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram handle right here. That way it's super easy for you to find, because I'd love to see the looks you create with this same type of style. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button right now. And if you want notified for any of my upcoming videos, go ahead and hit that bell as well. And if you liked it, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, leave them down in the comment box below, and I will link everything I used today in the description box. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.